What are some valuable things you've learned in therapy? I learned that some therapists really suck. That my feelings are pretty normal and reasonable. That it's okay to have and defend boundaries, even with those you love. That I'm actually a pretty awesome person. That we instinctively know what we should be doing, but rarely want to listen. A lot of thoughts I have aren't real, not backed by evidence, or helpful. Most things I worry about never happen. Like Mark Twain said, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. I'm not crazy. I came into therapy thinking I was this strange and overly sensitive person that needed to be fixed. By the end I realized that I was more normal than I knew, and that I was just reacting to the shitty hand I was dealt since birth. Anxiety, depression, feeling like an alien, and undeserving of love are all natural and common reactions to growing up with that kind of abuse. Also, my mom is deeply emotionally immature, and it isn't my fault how she reacts to things. In fact, most of my family is ducked up, even if they may not see it. But just because they may have been traumatized, that doesn't mean I have to associate with them, especially my brother. Just because he's no longer with me all the time doesn't mean I have to forget about his physical abuse and be best buddies with him. I get to choose who I spend my time with. Yes, I thought that my life was basically what everyone went through, but it turns out some of it is actually pretty unusual. Or at least if it is normal, then normal isn't necessarily okay. And the way it's shaped me is actually very understandable. I have a brother I've chosen to distance myself as well. I love him, but I know it's much healthier for me not to be involved in his life, and honestly that has given me the space to finally care for myself. Best wishes to you. Hope you strengthened happiness in your life. How to express my wants and wishes. How to stand up for myself, and how to be a little bit more confident and independent. 1. Everyone has a past. 2. You have to look at the bigger picture. Yes, someone does this that bothers you, but don't they do ABC which you love and appreciate? 3. Before you make a major decision, really picture your life without that person. Is it better, or is it worse? Are you happier? I left an abusive relationship, and I'm dealing with a trauma bond / Stockholm-like symptoms of wanting him back. My therapist said what is so special about him, and like this really opened my eyes, because I can't really name anything particular about him that is special. If you only ever think about the future, what ifs, then you completely miss out on life and you'll never be happy. Try to slow down and enjoy life. Self-care and setting boundaries. Sometimes the only reason you're in therapy is because people around you won't go to therapy. The line comments like that are not useful when people are being jerks or pushing boundaries. Always works. Let yourself feel every kind of emotions. Acknowledge them and make room for them. I asked my therapist how could I make room for my emotions without getting carried away with it. She explained that our emotions are always trying to send us a message. Once we get the message, the intensity of the emotion reduces. So, it's okay to get carried away. You will be carried away until you don't anymore, as long as you process those emotions the proper way. I'm lovable. That my life did not end 5 years ago. I know it sounds silly, but I felt that way 4 years, and therapy made me understand that I also can live, not only exist. Still learning how to, not easy. That my anger and other feelings about a family member's divorce and actions weren't wrong or bad. It was actually a pretty reasonable reaction to what had happened. And that was just the beginning. Going to counseling is one of the best things I've ever done for myself. Just because other people have bigger problems doesn't mean you are unworthy of help. You're trying to understand someone whose behavior is illogical. It's not ever going to make sense. Because their behavior doesn't make sense. You can keep trying to understand it, or you can start trying to let go of it. Changed my life. His shit isn't my shit, and I need to take care of me before even trying to deal with his shit. Not to be endlessly available physically and emotionally. That is perfectly fine to say no to people whenever you want. You can love and care about people deeply but still remove them from your life or set very strict boundaries because they are not good for your mental health. It's critical to set boundaries and cut people who violate them out of your life. Noon gets a free pass on hurting you because they are family or you have known them a long time. Forgiving people is for you, not them. You can't let other people decide what you need. Do not allow social norms to define your happiness. You are not defined by how you match some imaginary checklist or worthy goals. Self-care is as critical as food and water. You absolutely cannot allow it to be brushed aside, especially if you are a caretaker for others. You cannot draw water from an empty well. You are useless to everyone if you neglect yourself. How unhelpful mind reading, the cognitive distortion, is. Basically, I don't get to decide how someone feels or what they are thinking based off of my own thoughts and feelings. I'm not a mind reader, and if I'm unsure what someone is thinking or feeling, I should just ask, rather than my brain making up a likely untrue story. Putting myself first. My dad's verbal and mental abuse do not define me. To be the adult I needed as a child. That I'm not loud. Growing up, my mom used to tell me I'm loud and my voice is annoying. After that 4 years I barely spoke, and even if I did, I was too loud, or I would whisper. I never learned how to speak properly until I went to therapy. It was my first time to be myself and hear how my voice actually sounds like. It made me cry, and I would say a little bit happy. Two quotes from my therapist really stuck with me. 1. Feelings are not facts. 2. It's just a feeling. You'll have another one. To be clear, #2 was not said in response to anything specific, but rather general advice on handling feelings. It helped me to just experience my emotions. If I feel really bad, that won't last forever, and if I feel really good, that won't last forever. It's not meant to dismiss persistent feelings of sadness/nervousness etc. that indicate mood disorders, but advice for getting through life as a moody person. I'm not imagining. Sometimes, my mind takes me to places as a coping/protective mechanism. My feelings are valid. That emotional responses, feelings, are not logical, and that people who use them, like they are, can't reason with. Everyone is entitled to their feelings, but they can't expect others to bend to them. It's pretty easy for me to spot these people now, and I avoid them at all costs. To not rely on therapy to solve any of my problems. No therapist was ever able to do anything for me, but ever since I started working on myself by myself I'm doing way better, and was even able to reduce my medication from 300 mg to 62. 5 mg so far. That my boyfriend asking for a break reflects his mental health state more than my own. And that my anxiety is worse than I'd previously realized, so even though I've made huge progress on my own, needing the help of a professional is not because I'm weak, but because I deserve to live without a crippling disorder. Just because you love someone, it doesn't mean they're right for you. I learned that therapists don't help. The only thing that has ever really helped was when I firmly and unfailingly decided to change my own mindset about the way I thought about myself and my life. 1. To treat myself with the same kindness, love, and compassion I do for my best friends. 2. To ask myself why. I believe it's called self-editing. Why do I feel this way? Why am I obsessing? Second guessing. Angry. Sad. Whatever. Then ask why again and again till I can get to the root of things. It sometimes takes me a few days, but I get there. I reframe my problems and feelings till I can voice it. 3. Find 3 things to be grateful for, big or small. 4. Journaling. It helps when self-editing and asking then answering the why. It helps to write out the 3 things you're grateful for. 5. Ask for help when you need it. Everything passes. The good, the bad. It won't stay forever. So, enjoy the good times and learn to roll through the bad times. Procrastination is a personality trait, not a flaw. Other people's behavior has absolutely nothing to do with you, and getting angry about it is the same as getting your feelings hurt. You're taking it too personally. that regardless of what is going on, or how I feel about things, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. My therapist makes me say that at the end of every session. Boundaries. That I'm not responsible for the words and actions of others. What I will not tolerate from a potential mate. If you ask/rely on someone to do something trivial that you can do yourself, it undermines yourself. I learned self-compassion. It's impossible to selectively numb emotions. If you try to distance yourself from feelings of pain, sorrow, and longing, you inadvertently distance yourself from feelings of love, joy, and fulfillment. My thoughts and feelings were normalized. Once that was gifted to me, I was a lot more confident in talking to friends/family members about tough topics, because suddenly I didn't think they would think I'm crazy or over the top for feeling/thinking them. But this was after I learned what others have mentioned, that a lot of my concerns and thoughts aren't real, and that I need to make sure I have data to before I let myself believe something/worry about it. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.